Hello, Face. How's everyone doing? Everyone doing okay? Hiya, Jays, Ingmar, Hugo, and Brock, my trading warrior brother. Everyone doing all right? So, haven't said hello to you guys in a while. Maybe I could talk Ryan into it. So, hello, Face. This is mine. I'm doing okay. How are you, Sinatra? Had a big day in the yen yesterday. Gave us a nice pop. Jason, Monica, how are you? Rick Reedy. What a great group. Hello, Ryan. Why don't you turn on your camera so everyone could see what you look like? I've never seen what you look like. Become real to the community.
He's a bit like me, only with a mustache and a beard, I think.
Oh, his mic's not working. Okay, well, you could still show your face. What do you mean?
That's a good excuse.
Huh? His mic? Anyway, that's the end of my face, so I'm going to stop it. You can see I still look old, right, guys? Anyway, just wanted to... Huh? Hey, Ryan, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, you?
You want to turn on your video? And you've been here for a few months.
Let's see if I can
Here we go.
You don't want me to break it again.
Let the community see who's giving them all this knowledge and wisdom. They know what Stell and Blake looks like. And all right, Ryan's going to put on his camera.
And good face for radio.
He's going to put in his clothes.
I heard that.
Oh, there
you go. There's Ryan. Hey, buddy. Nice to meet you. Put a face to the voice. Okay, so handsome guy. Stell, you want to say hello to everyone? We haven't all said hello in a while. There's Stelios.
There we go.
Blake will probably do it. So
I don't know what my hair looks like at this time in the morning.
Don't worry about your hair, buddy. All right.
Dale, you're bookended by two eggheads.
True.
You guys are great looking guys.
Hey, Blake. Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to say.
My door's open. Hold on.
All right. Anyway, it is Veterans Day. And I don't care what your politics are, but in my view, you always have to be for the troops.
Yeah.
Most of them that would do more than most of us are willing to do. Lay down our lives for their brothers and sisters. So I know you're a happy guy, Stell, with what's happening in metals. And the only thing I could say is, let me stop the video here. That it didn't quite. It's trying right now. You see this line right here? Huh?
There you go. This is what I'll be doing in a while.
Hard life.
Yeah.
All right.
One of these days, I'm gonna beat your ass
me to
down.
death.
And and if I can't beat you in pool, I'll just beat you up with your pool stick. How about that? I'm sure. He's a shark. So
I'm pretty decent.
I am sure you are. I'm not.
And crude trying to roll over again. I'm really surprised it didn't make a new high up here. It missed it by a little bit. And guys, what do you think after yesterday's big day in the metals? And they are following through today. They sure fought a strong dollar. They even fought strong yields. They're unstoppable now, aren't they?
I think they're showing good potential. I'm not, guys, I'm a bull, I'm long. I'm not celebrating just yet, even though it was a good day yesterday. I still think we have a couple of levels to cross, both gold and silver, and then we can say, we have broken out, but, it could very easily go the other way, especially if yields continue and if the dollar continues. And Blake has been spot on with the dollar. Looks like everybody wants to be short the dollar and they're getting squeezed.
Yeah. So, we could be at that 96 level. We are diverging on the daily, but I wouldn't fade the dollar yet. I think Greg is looking to do that pretty soon, though. Why don't you take it away? And Ryan, what do you think? Yen put in a great day yesterday. So
Yeah, it
looks
was
like we should be able to move to new highs, don't you think?
Yeah, this has been a pure dollar move. We always watch the crosses, the yen crosses, to see who's pulling the cart. And they started shooting up yesterday, then they dropped back down again, done nothing today, and dollars just continued. And once again we got the turnaround in the yields. 1 minute we're below 150 in 10 years, and next we're testing 160 again. And it's like it's like I said the other day, you're running from one side of the boat to the other, and that's what brings these moves. But it's looking a pure dollar move in everything: Aussie, Euro, Pound, Swiss, CAD. This is one of those potentially big US dollar moves. But unfortunately, what do we get? We get a holiday in the middle, bond market shut. So we're not going to get any clues from there today. So that could be important, how they open up again, bond yields. And, if they continue going higher, smashing up through 160, then, we're probably going to see the highs in dollar yen again, maybe even have a crack at that 115 level.
Okay.
Well, bonds seem to be stabilizing a bit today. So I guess if the treasuries were open, they probably wouldn't be collapsing, let's put it that way. But let's see where they open for tomorrow's market.
Yeah.
The other thing I've noticed is with Euro making new lows here, something that's probably going unnoticed, which hasn't happened for a while, is that Euro pound isn't. Okay, so I think you still have to look to buy Euro pound now on this pullback with Euro making new lows. I know, maybe that's not a correct way to look at it, but for the most part, when the Euro was going down and making new lows on the last round, so was EG. And that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, again, it shows the dollar story, doesn't it? Because if that's not moving while cable's moving and the Euro's moving, you know what's pulling the strings.
Okay, we had a decent sell-off in S&Ps. From the highs. Blake pointed out that we were at that fib extension level that stopped it, I think, on Friday or Monday, and we're still quite a ways off those highs. So that's my view on what I'm seeing here. I still think that it may not happen right away, but I think there's a good shot that that crude heads towards the speed line before it's over, maybe by Thanksgiving, and then we make new highs. So that's it. That's all I see.
Well, I'm gonna take over here, and I think the market's got a lot of volatility picking up. It's picking up so much that we even got Chi, who might be listening in this morning from New Jersey. He actually popped into our chat room, and when he pops in the chat room, usually things are starting to hop because he started a restaurant right during COVID of all times. Yeah, and he opened like a little place right across from I forget which university over there in New Jersey. I used to be a trader in New York. I met him in person with a few other traders that are regulars listening to this webinar a couple years back. But when he pops in now, it's more of volatility tends to be picking up, and that's what we've been seeing. And
he wants a break from bussing tables.
No, yeah, it's actually across the street from a university. It's like a tea, and he's Asian. It's a tea, and he's actually Chinese. But he worked on Wall Street for many years.
Tiananmen University. Starts with a T, you said?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'd have to get clarification. But anyway, he has it's one of those little restaurants where they sell like dumplings and tea, and it's like little snacky stuff for the university kids. Anyway, but he, like I said, he's been popping in because volatility's been picking up, and so and I think things are starting to calm down for him too. So that's good. But yeah, here's the dollar breakout, and this is big. I mean, this is something that I've been talking about for a while, and Ryan and Stelios, you guys can jump in here when you want. This was really the reason why this is such a big deal, the reason why this breakout above the 38% retracement is such a big deal, because the 38% retracement is really the difference between a continuation or not, for the most part. Okay, so let me clarify with you guys what I mean by that. Let me go to a hey, give me some random stock.
Yeah.
Welcome, Qcom.
Look, I just threw some random name in here that I'll never, trade. Well, that's not true, but I wanted to use this as kind of a scratch piece of paper with my drawing tools. All right. When you have a rally, right, and you get a pullback, and that pullback is a 38% retracement. Okay. Which you can see right here is a 38% retracement. This pivot at this point, at the 38% retracement, will determine, for the most part, if it's going to be a continuation pattern or not. Now, on a rarer occasion, you get a move to like a 50% retracement, then you get a continuation, but usually the continuation just less. It doesn't, it's harder to make up. And here, let me draw that
Interesting.
out. Like you have an A, right?
Yeah.
B, C, D. The likelihood of D being completed once you've gotten to a 50% retracement is not as high. All right. So now if you break that 38% retracement, which we just did in the dollar index, it is now the difference between, what would have been a continuation pattern to what actually could end up being more of a range. And Helene Meisler, we were chatting about this. She's like, yeah, that's big resistance. And I'm like, yeah, here's the reason why it's big resistance. This is why dollar bears have been defending that level so much, because it is now the difference between the dollar index, which was let me draw it differently. The dollar index, which boom, we're at a 38% retracement here, and now we cracked it. That's the difference between what could have been a bearish trend, right? Now we are in what is more likely going to be, not that anymore. We're going to be more likely more of a range bound type of move now. So if you were predicting the demise of the dollar, basically you're going to have to wait for a while. That's the best way for me to put it, right? So now this also gives us a really good opportunity for those of you that want to buy dollars on dips. I am trying like hell to short the euro at 115. I don't know if I'm going to get it, but if I ever see it again here in the next, few days, maybe a week, I am a seller of euros there. Now, obviously I'm buying dollars against a lot of other different currencies. If you guys don't know what we're doing here in the ForexAnalytix community, I'm long dollar Norway as of, well, look, I say I added that as of yesterday, but people that are in the chat room know that I've been long dollar Norway for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. Anyway, down here at the 851 levels where I got long, and I added to that long yesterday when we broke above the 200-day moving average, that downtrend line, the 38% retracement, I added all to the dollar Norway. I'm long dollar Mex, and I doubled up my position on dollar Canadian on break above 125. And yeah, I want to short euros. I do. I just don't know if I'm going to get that opportunity. Right. So if you're in the ForexAnalytix community, you're in the chat rooms, you listen to, even if you are a light member and you only pay $19 a month so you can listen to the private webinars that we do, you guys already know that. All right. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm now a full on dollar bull, and I'm just trying to get, I'm trying to buy dips if I can.
Breaking through these levels, they give you any targets, Blake? You want?
Oh yeah, I have all sorts of targets. I know exactly where I'm looking for, but that doesn't mean everybody else should know what we're looking for, right? But for the dollar index, I mean, you got to, at least if you think about the dollar index, I'm not going to go through every dollar pair with you. I'll do that with the ForexAnalytix subscribers here in about, an hour from right now. But, right now, the dollar index, you should be targeting right here, 161% extension of this last move and the 50% retracement. So currently near term, when I say near term, we're probably talking within the next week or two. You got to be looking for 95.50 to 96. I think that's a viable target now for the dollar index, because remember, there are a lot of people that are short. There are a lot of people that have been anticipating short. Now you're seeing a lot of flows. And when it's flows, it's not just you and I as traders. This is a lot of liquidity being coming into the market. You guys should go watch that interview I did with Brent Johnson yesterday, who's he talks about the dollar milkshake theory, which is basically what is a good explanation of what happens in a liquidity crunch. If you want to know what happens when you see a COVID lockdown and there's a liquidity crunch in the dollar, you get a housing market, systematic breakdown of Lehman Brothers housing market all at the same time. You want to know why the dollar rallies? Go listen to that interview that I conducted yesterday with Brent Johnson on Traders Summit. If you go to Traders Summit, it's this one right here. Here, I'll just put the link in there for you guys so you guys can really wherever the hell where's my chat box? But anyway, let's get your this is to everybody here so you guys can see that in the chat box. So Stelios, Steve, what do you guys think about the dollar and its breakout? And just wait, before you answer that, this is one of the things that I did yesterday is I put in a pattern in play on the gold breakout, and then I had to reverse it because the dollar was breaking out. And I actually believe in the dollar more than I believe in gold right now. And that's not because I don't think gold's not going higher. It's just gold's got some competition now with Bitcoin, and with if these cryptos continue to hold their gains, I'm a little bit more skeptical about being long gold. But the gold did break out big time yesterday. What are your thoughts here on gold and the dollar? So I want to ask you guys.
Yeah, I spoke on the Morning Edge yesterday after you. This is the webinar for ForexAnalytix subscribers, and I looked at the Dixie, and I said that I think the medium-term path of the dollar is lower, but I think there's a good chance now we're going to get to the 50% retracement of the last leg lower in the DXY, which comes in at around 96.10. And I think that's a pretty there you go, you have it. That's a pretty good opportunity now, and given that we've broken, I think now it's the most likely scenario. I can't be sure it's going to happen, but I think it's now become the most likely scenario, and this is one of the reasons why I'm skeptical of adding to my metals positions, which I want to add eventually, but now I'm not, because it looks like the dollar is probably going a little bit higher, and if yields follow suit, then you can probably bet that metals are not going to be performing that well. So I'm sticking to it.
Nick, hey Stelios, Nick said dollar and gold can both go up at the same time. They can, and I don't disagree with that. But the way I look at gold and the dollar, if they're going up at the same time, it's not. They don't typically go up at the same time. You see it. They can in even intraday or day in and day out, and I have seen that under periods of extreme stress. When the financial markets are under stress, but it tends to be more like a relay race. Like imagine like track runners in a relay race, like they pass off a baton. It's your turn, and then they pass it off the baton. Your turn, and then you hold the gains, and then it passes off again, right? So, but if I'm tactically playing the dollar long for, like, let's say this move from 470 to 96, which I am. I'd rather be long the dollar in this leg. And then once the dollar reaches 96, then I'll switch over to the gold and I'll buy some gold or silver. So that's how I plan to play it, if that makes sense to you guys. Anyway.
That
I don't
makes
know
a
if
lot
that
of
makes sense to
sense.
you. Yeah.
That makes a lot of
So-
sense.
Yeah, I get that.
But you said you correctly said they can both go up at the same time and they can both go down at the same time, and
Yeah,
not
and-
for a very short term either. You know, we've seen
I-
it for days and weeks even happening.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt again, but Ben
Yeah.
says, yes, he late 70s. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't disagree. But when you're trading for a couple of days at a time, I have not seen in the last 25 years, and somebody correct me, many times on a daily basis. I mean, we're traders, guys. If you're telling me that, hey, gold and the dollar are going to go up for the next year together, I won't disagree with that. But when you're trading for a couple of days at a time, like most of us traders here, we're just trying to, make a few bucks. I want to, make a few bucks on this dollar move higher. And then once the dollar reaches those levels, I'm going to see where gold's at. And then I'm going to pick up gold and try to play it to the long side. Typically, you on a day by day or even an intraday basis, they tend not to move up together all that often. And like I said, you'll get those days and you'll get those situations, but I'm going to play it more like a relay race, if that makes sense. So anyway, I'm sorry. I just wanted to comment to other people that were commenting here. So Ryan, what do you think about the dollar and gold at this point?
Yeah, I think, as we're saying, you've got to take the correlations as they happen at the time. It's the same with CAD and oil. One day it's on the CAD dollar is on the oil bust, the next day it's not. The same thing with gold. But what the only thing you can do with that, because one thing with correlations is that sometimes people can get too focused on something. So if you're trading dollar CAD and you're focusing too much on oil, trade oil. Why are you trading dollar CAD if you're looking so much at oil? Yeah, and the same could be said for dollar and gold. But what do you do? If you've got a tight correlation or something that's happening at a particular moment that you see gold moving the same way as oil, then all you can do is look at your levels. And like you say, the dollar index has broken its level. You know what level the support's likely to come in. The same you factor with gold. We broke that 1830s area. That's your support point. If you want to go long gold, try not to get stuck in the middle. You've got the highs now. We've got looking at 2-day confirmed highs now. Now we've got a resistance area to look at. So if you want to go long, you either buy it down your 1830s or you buy a break of this 60, 65 area. And that's all you need to do.
So play the instrument. Play the instrument.
Play the instrument. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
Play the instrument, play the levels.
And you know what? If you were on the morning edge yesterday, that's the webinar that is after this, right? You guys were doing live analysis with me, and gold was trading right at that moment in time. It was trading right here.
Yeah, great call.
At 1865. Yeah, Stelios, you were listening in. I mean, Steve wasn't around because he had to take his take his son to his appointment. But gold was reaching for that 1865. I'm like, look, if you guys, I'm not a gold bear, right? I'm like, but if you guys want some action and you're like, I want to sell into this rally, this 1865 is a big level. It's going to hold, in my opinion. And the reason why I was going to hold is because it is let me get rid of let me go to my mouse here. It's a confluence of the 78% retracement of the last leg lower, 127% of this last move lower. So that's the 127% extension. So even though it broke that trend line, we had a spike up in 1865. Some people shorted it, and I'm like, I'm not doing it. But if you guys, want some action here, and look, we got a 20-point move lower in gold, and now we're, consolidating. But notice how we're consolidating and holding. This is bullish. Gold is bullish right now. I'm not going to tell you that it's not, because it is. But I think you have to do what Ryan says. Trade the instrument. Like my focus is on the dollar right now. And what I'm going to be thinking of actually at the time that I start to exit my dollar trade. So let's say the dollar, reaches over the next, I'm just going to say over the next, let's say week, we get to this 95.50 to 95.70 level. I'm going to take profits in my dollar trades. And the next place I'm going to look right after that is I'm going to see where gold's at. And you know what? If gold is holding up, let me get back over to gold. And if gold is holding up, and let's say it's dollar comes in and dollar continues to strengthen, and gold does a little consolidation, and we're just sitting here holding around this 1830, 1840 level, I'm going to be the first one saying, okay, I'm going to get long some gold here. It hasn't pulled back with that dollar rally. So, and that's how I'm going to play it, like a baton, like a relay race, right?
It's simplicity, isn't it? It's keeping it simple.
Yeah, I mean,
trade the levels, trade what you see. We say it all the time.
Exactly.
The charts tell you everything.
So let me ask you guys this. With all the things that are happening in China, and by the way, I did a interview with I'm sorry, I did a show with Pepperstone Securities last night. But it was Thursday. What's today? Thursday? It was Thursday morning for them. It was last night for me. And, we were talking about, and I don't know if it ever went live because it's they've been working on this production for like the last several months. And I thought last night was going to be live, but, I'm not sure if it is. Anyway, I'm really focused here on copper. And I want you guys to look at copper because you guys know it's the doctor, right? You can make all your analogies about it's the kind of the overall health of the global economy is kind of seen in copper or whatever. I'm just going to point out a couple key developments as far as I'm concerned. High, lower high, 618 retracement, 200-day trend line. This is what we call confluence. If we get below this support here, now we also have to be cognizant of the fact that we have probe below the 200-day moving average, and it kind of wiggles people out and then it bounces back. So that could very easily happen if we got down here. But I do think that because we're at this, broken trend line testing, 200-day moving average, 618 retracement, it all is really supporting copper. And you might notice that the US dollar CNH this morning, for those of you that are worried about Evergrande, the US dollar CNH also is, you're seeing it, the CNH strengthen, the dollar CNH is staying heavy here. So until you start to see a move down in copper or a move higher in the US dollar CNH, I wouldn't be too terribly concerned about what's happening with Evergrande. Not because I don't think it's a big deal. I just think that the market's not viewing it as a big deal. But anyway, any thoughts here on Evergrande and what happened overnight, Stelios? Or Ryan or Dale or anybody else is here?
They paid off those bonds at the last second, the last day of their grace period.
Wait, I'm sorry. And Steve too. I just saw Steve popped in. By the way, happy Veterans Day, Steve. Steve also served in his.
I did too.
No, you didn't.
You never told me.
No.
19 months I did. 19 months.
Pencil pushers don't count. Just kidding. Yes. Happy Veterans Day.
I was actually the pencil pusher.
Okay. You don't count. Well,
I was in the Armored Corps, man. Anyway.
But you know what? I want to say happy Veterans Day to both of you guys and everybody else here that served too. But anybody have any views? And good morning, Steve. Anybody have any views about what the Evergrande situation? Sorry.
I was going to say they paid off the for the was it the coupon for like 2 or 3 bonds that were due last day of the grace period. So they seem to be scraping by, and there's rumors now today about some kind of a plan being formalized. I mean, we don't know what happens in that country, right? Nobody knows. Only the inside.
Stelio, did you hear how they supposedly pay the?
No.
They said that they sold off like private airplanes, mansions and things like that belong to the CEO or something like that.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't inspire confidence, does it?
Because communist China.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have a view. I mean, I don't have information. That's the problem. But it's
okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna make the point then that while copper continues to hold up and the US dollar CNH is not rallying, I don't think it's a worry to the market. I think that's when if you start to see the dollar CNH spike up, that's China's mechanism of trying to, weaken their currency, devalue their currency. Yeah, Dale. And that's when we need to start thinking. And copper's had a nice bounce overnight. I'm not so worried about, risk appetite right now. And you can see NASDAQ's at highs of the day. The market's at highs. I'm not really too worried. Ryan, do you have any views before we go?
Yeah, just on the Evergrande thing. I maintain my position that I think China are going to have it contained. There was a rumor just before they paid those dividends or whatever. There was a rumor coming out that they were going to default. One of those flaky rumors you get out. So I think that tipped yen pairs over a bit. US dollar CNH. I'm in it at the moment, 637, and there's a bit of discussion in the chat room about China are still keeping that pair low. Partly to offset the price rises and things, and what's going on in iron ore and all that sort of stuff, because it really isn't going anywhere. And when it doesn't go anywhere for an extended period, you usually get the feeling that someone official has got their finger on the pulse there.
Yeah, and that does unfortunately does happen in the markets, doesn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, mainly we're talking CNY, because obviously the CNH is the offshore and CNY is the one that the PBOC get their fingers into.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for your thoughts. And by the way, those of you that are chiming in, thank you very much for the Veterans Day wishes to all the veterans out there. Not to us. I'm saying to everybody out there. DJ and
I'm a veteran, Blake.
You are a.
I've been on the battlefield with ForexAnalytix for 4 years.
You have. You are definitely a Forex Veteran. But before we go,
you and I, Dale, we are both veterans, literally.
you guys not veterans. You guys are senior citizens, is what you guys are. Oh, that's gotta hurt.
Just okay. Go Joe Biden and pass that elder care for us.
Hey, I'm glad that I am long gold, silver, and the dollar. I think they can go hand in hand in current scenario.
All right. Well, thank you, K-Man. And I'm sure other traders love to hear that as well. Hey, and by the way, when I was talking about the baton, the handing off of strength, I do believe gold and silver and the dollar, or precious metals and the dollar, can go up at the same time. It's just they don't usually they don't surge at the same time. Like, you won't see them. Like, you're not going to see the dollar up 1% and gold up 3% the same day. That's more rare, right? It tends to be like you can see them both trending higher over time. Yeah. That's the way I view it, right?
Yeah. But I agree on that completely. But the point I'm trying to make is that, of course, everybody trades dollars. You buy dollars. You look at the yields, but take the dollar out of the equation and look at gold, how gold is doing versus all the rest.
Yeah.
You can continue to buy gold and silver, for instance. I'm saying other precious metals.
That's all currencies.
And then sell the euro dollar in front, or sell cable in front, or buy dollar yen in front, and you get gold crosses instead of via the dollar. That's why one of the reasons I think that they both can go hand in hand for a while, as we have seen the dollar and the yen, which is counterintuitive, go hand in hand for extended periods. That was just what I was.
Yeah. All right. Very, very good. And that you guys heard it from K-Man, who's been in the markets for 40 years and counting. And thank you for being here, K-Man. We do appreciate you. We love having you in the ForexAnalytix chat rooms now. And guys, I just wanted to point out,
Zeberg is bearish.
I'm sorry?
Henrik Zeberg is bearish gold.
Yeah, from like 1100.
I don't know who that is. Yeah, I really have no idea.
Is that year or price?
He's Steve's favorite guy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to point out the Aussie dollar just for you guys that are seeing it. We've been bearish since it was up around 75. We're getting close to channel support and flag completion, which will come in around 73 to 70. Well, 70 to 60, 70, 50, somewhere around there. And I was talking with Chris Weston of Pepperstone yesterday. He was targeting 73. We just got to 73 overnight. So, there's going to be some buyers down here. I think the Aussie turns lower longer term, more on, risk appetite. But Dale, I know you have an interview right now, so don't want to take away from that anymore.
Very patient.
Thank you very much, everybody. And thanks for your interviewee for being so patient. Thanks, everybody, for listening in. Have a great Thursday. Thank God tomorrow is Friday. And have a great Veterans Day for those of you that have served. I'm going to serve my kids since they're home today. So it looks like I get to serve them breakfast and lunch and dinner today. So talk to you guys later.
Mom. Have a great day. And Ryan, I'm certainly grateful that you gave up your movie career to be a trader and join us. So anyway, Dave Farber, my buddy, welcome
Hey,
back.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. How are you? What's on your radar? And welcome back to Face.
I appreciate it. Happy Veterans Day to everybody, and thanks for having me back here. What's
Welcome
on my
back,
radar?
Dave.
Well, a lot of thematic plays once again.
Yeah, I think you're having, since I last talked to you, some great moves in your favor of what you have been talking about on your previous two interviews. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm excited to talk about them in more detail here.
Okay.
So in particular, I did want to just start off with something I know you guys touch on all the time is the Russell 2000. Because I think regardless of my bullishness on various thematic areas in the market, I feel that if general equities are not in a bullish environment, those will not perform as well, right? Because there's a lot of correlation. And, the Russell 2000s, what seems to be a range-bound breakout that we've had for a couple of, the breakouts happened basically over a year of range-bound trading. Yeah. Now, there's a slight divergence here that we have to be cognizant of, and I want to make certain that it's not a fake breakout here. But when I look at the MACDs breaking above zero finally for the first time in basically all of 2021, and the downtrend in RSI has been broken, that gets me bullish. And we'll see. I'd like to see some consolidation here, but if we get a leg higher in the small caps, and then again the micro caps as well, that is going to be a very bullish kind of backdrop to the commodity themes that I'm watching very closely.
Yeah, which one has been, I've been seeing things like uranium shares painting the tape, becoming more popular. When you first started talking about it, it was off the radar. Who would ever go to nuclear power again? Type of sentiment that we had back there.
Right. The fundamentals in uranium were improving over the last couple of years, but it wasn't until really, I would say, 2021 that what now is called the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, that Sprott took over, and this happened actually in August. So I believe after our interview, but when Sprott took over the uranium trust, the sector just went, no pun intended, nuclear. This year was a neckline around the $11 area, and you see how quickly it ran from 11 to 1850. We've been consolidating here just a little bit and creating a very, very bullish flag above the previous breakout zone. So my expectation is that this is going to break out very, very soon. We are in very bullish seasonality period for the uranium sector, which starts really from mid-November till mid-March. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this uranium trust going into the 30s, and if that happens, and well beyond that, but on this particular leg higher. And if that happens, let's take a look at the uranium ETF, the URA. It's not as pure play as the URNM. So if I'm going to invest in an ETF, the URNM is the way I would go. But look at this. This is from 2012. We are just now starting to look at that neckline around 31. And so clearly the move since August of this year has been from 17 to close to 31. That's been quite a move in and of itself. But I think we're just getting started here. There's obviously volatility along the way.
You made a comment when you were showing the Russells that overall you're really not that bullish the market. I'm wondering if we have a correction, and I know some pretty good people that are saying it could start from 4,800 or 5,000, and they're looking for not just 5-10%. Some of these people that have these targets. Will uranium shares suffer along? Will it act more like a stock, or will it act more like uranium?
Right. Well, just to clarify, Dale, right now I am bullish the markets. I think the general theme in my book is that equities remain bullish, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see 5,000. Okay. With that said, obviously there are gonna be corrections along the way, and eventually the bull market will end. And
what do you think is going to end it, Dave? You have a good understanding of markets. Is it going to be some type of black swan event, or is it going to be yields? What do you think could end the bull market? Just recession, a shock? Any ideas?
Yeah, I wish I knew with any degree of certainty, but my hunch is that it will be a black swan event that's tied to unintended consequences to inflation. So whether that's interest rates going much higher than the markets expect, or the U.S. dollar going higher. You guys have been talking about the U.S. dollar. I've been watching this very closly here as well.
You mean like the milkshake theory?
Exactly. I mean, if something breaks out and
chocolate.
Right, you're getting me hungry. If something breaks out that the market's not expecting, that could create some unintended consequences. Interest rates are the talk of the town, and I do believe that they're starting to break out. I was telling someone yesterday privately that I expect 10-year treasuries to be over 2% before year end, and
I do too.
We know where momentum will take that probably even higher, and at that point, how does that impact the NASDAQ in various different areas and segments of the market? But right now, I mean, corporate earnings are at record levels, and really, there's nothing really that's stopping them from going higher. Yeah,
come on, be a little more controversial. I'm
yeah,
kidding, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, well,
just make money. Who cares about being controversial? Just
I think that's what's unique about this, Dale, is that the base case view of market participants is that things are going to get worse, and I think the pain trade is actually to the upside, where very few quote unquote experienced traders and investors are predicting it.
Okay, all right, appreciate that.
Sure.
All right, so you're venturing out into anything besides uranium?
Yeah, well, gold and silver are starting to become very interesting once again. Silver as a metal itself, there's a lot of overhead supply here, so I wouldn't invest in the silver play yet. But I do see that the potential of a breakout here on RSI that's starting to take place. But what does interest me in silver are the silver miners. Yeah, not the juniors, but the larger producers. When you look at this
chart,
the
juniors like SILJ? They're underperforming.
Yeah, SILJ just has a lot of overhead supply. I'm not saying that they won't do incredibly well if this breakout over 28 does occur eventually. They're going to do incredibly well. But when I see a chart like this, there's really no overhead supply. And you've got this bullish flag cup and handle breakout potentially taking place here. So obviously I would start with a positioning around these levels. If it breaks above 50 on the SIL, I mean, you've got blue sky till 69. And then beyond that, it's closer to 90. So I do believe that sooner rather than later, this breakout will take place. So I'm watching it very closely. Of course, if there's a rejection here and the dollar breaks out, then, perhaps we have a couple more weeks or months of frustration, but this is going to happen. It's a question of when, and that's exciting for me.
Okay.
Another area that's starting to capture my interest, and I'm starting to do due diligence on, is marijuana. Very few people are talking about the marijuana trade, but perhaps with Congress completing negotiations on the various different packages, they can turn their focus to this segment. That's kind of my theory. But when you look at
the revenue,
they need the revenue. That's absolutely right. I mean, you look at this longer term chart since this ETF was in existence. And we've been in two pretty consolidated downtrends that, from one vantage point, might be considered bullish, bullish wedge, bullish flag, and we finally broke out of that right now. And when you look at the MACDs, they're starting to pick up steam. So I'm starting to just get interested. If this can break above, I'd say $9 here, above this neckline, then I would really get interested. And this is more than just potentially a trade, but potentially a long-term investment if things indeed are starting to turn around.
Where's that traded, HMMJ? Toronto?
That's on Toronto Exchange. Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay,
but you can buy names like Tilray, TLRY, that went down from what, $300 to $12. I mean, there's been such a massive decline.
in chart on Tilray?
I can pull it up. I don't have it, but I'll pull it up right here.
They say if you take too much radiation from your uranium shares, that smoking marijuana will stop the nausea.
Yeah,
I have experience with radiation. So anyway, that's a nice pair trade, right? Uranium and weed.
Exactly.
All right. So
exactly. But you see how this trades in kind of these ranges. It was in a downturn from 300 to all the way to $2. Finally broke out, went all the way to 67. Now it's range bound again.
Yeah.
I think this is going to break out. And if you're into the Elliott wave cycles, I mean, this is another wave higher that's probably going to take this stock into the hundreds if things really do break out above that 14 area. So it is on my radar.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to cover with us today?
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at bulk. And I apologize. I'm on a different computer today with my wife sleeping, so I have to be in a cave here. So I'm using a laptop with smaller cave. Smaller screens here. But what's interesting here is bulk dry shipping. I think that some people are looking at this as a bearish development, right? But this is the B-Dry ETF. But I think this is just telling us that the supply chains are starting to ease a little bit right now. And this is an interesting area to potentially get back into this trade around this 22 level for shipping containers, because I do believe, as you know, commodities are a very bullish area. Here, this is an index that I watch very closely. It's the Pring Inflation Index on stock charts.
Pring.
Yeah, the legend. So this is the inflation index here. I mean, and look at this long term. I mean, this is a very, very well-defined cup and handle, and we're outside of this handle right now, and I think we're going to break out. And inflation is here to stay. I don't believe it's transitory by any stretch. I mean, there are areas of the markets that are, but I think this is going to continue to be a very powerful theme over the next decade.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I mean, where do you want to be long? I mean, copper.
Things with intrinsic value.
Right, exactly right. Platinum starts to stand out a little bit right now. Kind of I like the undervalued commodities, the ones that have not necessarily been on the top of everyone's radar for the last many years.
You're so young, you probably don't remember platinum trading at $1,000 premium over gold.
I read about it, and it certainly was my expectation over the last decade, right? but it just hasn't happened.
Ancient history books, yeah.
Right. And one final thing, Dale, from my vantage point, is this: I watched this index very closely. It's the high yield index, option adjusted spread index, and it's interesting because how credit is doing is ultimately going to determine the health of the overall market. And so long as the spread is very, very thin and going lower, that's bullish for equities. I mean, I just don't see any real signs that there's stress in the markets yet. So I'll be watching this
back over 4 or so to start getting the sign of it.
Exactly. If it gets over 4, I will start getting a little bit nervous. And to your question earlier about uranium equities and how they might perform under a stressed economic environment, it all depends on what the cause of the stress is. If it's just inflation that's scaring the NASDAQ, then I think uranium equities and commodities will be the safe haven, if you will. But if it becomes a financial event that everything starts selling off, then you have to, uranium's going to get hit as well. Perhaps
looks
not
like
the
you have
underlying
a
commodity.
little, DJ is saying that this looks like it's coiling. I actually see 1, 2, and one more low would give you a 3 drive to a bottom pattern. And we are diverging down there, right?
Yeah, it's quite possible. I'm noticing that as well. But we also saw that this divergence happened from 2017 all the way to the end of 2018. So 2 years we had a divergence before we had any breakout. So we could be in another 6 to 12 months of this divergence before anything real happens.
I don't think past the spring. That's my call.
Right.
Anyway.
A lot of you folks don't think past tomorrow in terms of, and that's great. But that's why I try to kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture and see what's taking place.
All right, Dave. So I forgot, do you have a business model besides trading your own account? Are you helping people? Are you teaching people? Why do you do these interviews? Why are you on Twitter? Are you just paying it forward?
I'm paying it forward. I'm just extremely passionate about the markets, and
that's why I love you.
Yeah, I trade on my own, and I do have a small premium service where I make these premium videos, but I just do that really for fun, and just to keep me busy.
Dave, it's always eye-opening, and your demeanor is great when you talk about these things, and appreciate you giving our community some ideas and some balance about everyone's bearishness about what's happening in the economy. So I really love your work, and thank you
very much. It's much appreciated.
I love you coming in here to talk about things that most people don't, and appreciate that. And you could follow Dave on Twitter at Moneyology, MONIOLOGY, Moneyology. Correct? Is that the only place?
You got it. Yeah, you can find me on Patreon, where I post some of my videos, and moneyology.com is where you can get a premium subscription. But yeah, Twitter is where I'm most active and where you can find me there. Well,
Dave, have a great fall trading season.
Thank you so much. To you guys as well. Happy health and happy life to everybody. Blessings to everybody.
We'll get back together in the winter.
Look forward to it.
Uranium to heat our houses because of the energy shortage.
You got that right.
All right. Isn't that what's the name of the guy? Didn't Bart Simpson's father work in a nuclear plant?
I did not watch The Simpsons growing up, so but I have seen an episode where they were all turning green. So it's quite possible.
So there's your new logo for your for your company. Use the Simpsons' dad turning, has some radiation. He glows in the dark. Homer,
yeah, there you go.
That's it. Yeah, uranium and donuts and beer. So
and a little bit of marijuana on the side.
Oh yeah, and that's a great look, because no one, Dave, is talking about the pot stocks anymore.
Right.
And they are looking kind of cheap. So appreciate you bringing that look too.
You got it.
Okay, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend.
All right. That's Dave Farber, everyone. And you can follow him at Moneyology. That's going to be a wrap for us. You could join the team in a little less than 20 minutes for the morning edge. And hope that we added value to what you're trying to accomplish here. As a trader, it's not easy, but it also is achievable. So don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Okay, Paul, take it easy. Ingmar, you're welcome. Dave, thank you. Laura, thank you. Monica, see you all, my friends. Bye-bye.